Thank you for watching this YouTube video. Today I'm going to be talking about rings. And basically with rings you're looking for a specific combination of stats that would go together well for certain builds. The biggest thing is you're going to be looking for something, it basically requires a knowledge of builds just in general. Just to give you an idea, one thing that is most common to do with rings is, before you even think about builds in general, is you want to add up all the resists together. If the resists are higher than like 100, that's when a ring really starts adding up to something. Like for this ring example, it's not quite to 100, but it's still worth a little bit because it has other stats that are wanted for certain characters. But how you would like add these stats up is like that 7% all resist counts as 21 resist. The fire and cold resist on top is 30 resist, plus the 42 resist. So in all, that's what, 93 resist. So that ring is it's right before it's really start being worth something. But it's still, because it has accuracy and it has physical damage, it's actually a pretty good ring still. Somebody who would be wanting to buy this ring would maybe even buy it just to exalt it, because they could potentially get something pretty good on it. It has 2 prefixes left on it, which is huge. That means you can still roll life, you can still roll energy shield, so that means you can get a lot of different things on it. And then from there, we can go and talk about a little bit more of the other stats. The other thing that really increases the ring's value is if it has energy shield on it or if it has health on it. Having both at the same time, maybe not so much, but like when you have at least one of those things and then resist, the ring's value even goes up higher. And then from that point, so okay, now your ring has good base resist, good health or good health or energy shield. From there, you have to think about what stats would be good for certain builds. For instance, this ring would be good for any crit build because of the accuracy rating and the 5 to 11 physical damage. It'd be more for physical crit builds, so it'd be like a dagger build type of ring, which might not be so popular right now, so it might be harder to sell this ring. But because a lot of times the more popular physical builds are going to be like, at least melee builds are going to be more, they're going to get resolute technique, so this probably won't be as advantageous for those builds, but for like split arrow crit, this could be a really good ring for somebody. So, and for me, with that in mind, you add up all the resists, then you take in the fact that physical damage and accuracy is really good on a ring. I would probably, and since it doesn't have health, which is kind of a big thing, I'd probably price it at only like 4 to 5 chaos because of that. Mainly just because the all resists. The other 2 are actually pretty decent. So I'm basically giving 3 chaos because it's over 90 resists, and then 2 chaos for the other 2 random attributes that are good for a certain build. Alright. For other rings, like this ring, I think I'm asking almost the same amount for it. It does go over the 90% mark with the chaos resist, which is pretty nice. And then it has a little bit of health and strength. I think I'm only asking 4 chaos for this one because the health is a really low roll and then the strength's really low. But the cold and the lightning resist are so big that somebody would probably try to get this at least just to balance out the resist. They need a little bit of strength and health. They might find it attractive. For this ring would be, it's kind of an awkward ring. It doesn't have a lot of resists on it. It only has 62 resists. but it did roll a very high maximum energy shield roll, which is big. The rarity roll is kind of meh. The physical damage roll with energy shields kind of meh, and then the life is kind of meh. So life gain on hit, like in general, this ring's a little awkward. It's almost trying to do a little bit too much. Because of that, I would only do like at 2 chaos at most, maybe even 1 chaos, even though the 41 maximum energy shields out quite a high roll for energy shield on rings. But yeah, I was just kind of giving you an idea. Like even though the ring starts out strong, it still kind of falls off. But then you see rings like this. It kind of has a little bit of everything going on with it. But the biggest thing, oh, you better not start, bird. But the biggest thing is increased elemental damage with weapons. It's kind of a harder stat to get on rings, and it's actually a really good stat for a lot of builds that use elemental damage on their weapons, obviously. But the other parts of it are actually go together nicely with it. Like an elemental buzzsaw build would actually really like this ring because it gives a little bit of mana, gives a little accuracy, gives the energy shields kind of whatever. The dex kind of that might help them with their stats, and then the increased elemental damage with weapons. And since it's kind of a rare stat to find on rings, you almost can sell that ring for chaos just because of that stat. And then from there, since the other stats are actually kind of good, I'd say about 8 chaos. Pidgey? No. So yeah, hopefully that gives you a good idea of what to look for on rings. The biggest thing is just adding up the resist and trying to get it up past a certain point. But yeah, thank you for watching this YouTube video. And yeah, follow me. I'm probably gonna cut that last part out.